This next video is for project 5-1, the calculator. Again, you will start a new drawing, and first we need to change a couple settings. So we begin down here at the very bottom where your snap and grid mode is located in your status bar. You're going to right click and go to grid settings. You're going to change your snap spacing to 1/16 of an inch, or just 1/16. And as far as your grid spacing, because I hit enter, I'm gonna go back to the settings box. You're gonna change your grid spacing to 0.25. When you make this change, it automatically goes into the Y, so you don't have to retype it. It's something that the program does. You want to make sure that the object snap is on and your grid is on. And we're going to also go to the object snap tab and make sure that endpoint, midpoint, center, quadrant, intersection, perpendicular, and extension are selected, and hit OK. To begin this drawing, we're going to begin with a rectangle. So we'll type command rectangle, or you can go to the icon at the very top. And for the first corner point, we're going to start at 0, 0. Then next, we're going to create the upper right hand corner, which would be 3.5, comma, 6. So 3.5 on the X, 6 on the Y. Next, we're going to use the offset command, which is the icon up here. You'll click it. It's going to ask for an offset distance. That distance is going to be a 1/16 of an inch. So you'll type 1/16, press enter. You're going to select the box and you're going to click in the inside of the box anywhere. You will hit enter to exit the command. Next, we will do a rectangle shape. So rectangle. And for that first quarter point, again, I'm going to zoom in to this very bottom. And remember, my mouse snapped at every 1/16 of an inch. So every time this mouse jumps, it's a 1/16 of an inch. Based on the textbook's dimensions, the first button is 0.25 off the quarter from the bottom line up. And then it's another 0.25 over. So as you can see, I have my mouse tracking from the corner up, as you can see, perpendicular at 0.25. So I have the 25 this direction. Now I'm going to go to the right another 0.25, which should be eighth at this location. Another way to verify that I'm at the 0.25 location is if you look at the very bottom, you'll notice my coordinates, 0.25 on the X, 0.25 on Y, right beside the model button. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and click to establish my rectangle bottom corner, and then for my upper right hand corner, I'm not going to type in the coordinates. I'm going to type in the actual dimensions of the shape. So I'm going to type D for dimensions and press enter. The length is always the X, so it's going to be 0.5 on the X, 0.25 on the Y. And as you can see, it established my box. And the last thing I need to do is take my mouse and click in the far right hand corner. The reason why we do this is because after you type the dimensions of the rectangle shape, it follows your mouse. So to put it in its proper position, you want to make sure you click it in the quadrant that it needs to be in. So next would be to duplicate these rectangles to create these different rows and columns that we have for this calculator. The command that's going to best use for this is the array command. So you click on the array. I'm going to select the rectangle box. I'm going to press enter. And as you can see, the default is always going to be 4 columns, 3 rows. And basically, we're going to add an additional column to make it 5. And for the rows, we're going to type 7. Now, what's neat about this program is it gives you a preview of, prior to actually confirming your rows and columns. But notice again, my rows and columns, they're not in the proper position yet. So where it says between, my column spacing needs to be changed. To determine column spacing, you always calculate the actual shape plus the space. So when it comes to the space, it's considered to be a 1/8 of an inch. So here I'm going to type 0.625 because the shape is 0.50 and another 1/8 would make it 625. For the row spacing, again, the shape is 0.25 and an additional 1/8 would make it 375, which is already typed in. So this time you will go and make sure that in the property section that associative is turned off. And to know if it's turned off, it should be gray. If the button is blue, that means it's on. So make sure that it's gray. And then close the array. Next is to do our triangle shapes in the middle. So that's simply by using the line command. I'm going to start from this corner, go to the midpoint, and then back down. And I'm going to hit the enter button to finish that command. I'm going to go back to line, start from this corner to the midpoint and back to this corner and press enter. Do the same for the opposite side, to the midpoint, back to the corner. Again from the corner to the midpoint and back to this corner. Now for the circle in the middle, we'll begin with the circle command. I'm going to zoom in on the rectangle shape. Now remember, the rectangle has a height of 0.25 and my snap is still, again, a 1/16 of an inch. So basically I should be able to go in a downwards direction from this midpoint 2 notches to get to an 1/8, which is right there, as you can see, perpendicular with 0.125, which is an 1/8. I'm going to click. Now the circle itself is going to have a radius of a 1/16 of an inch. So notice where it says polar, and it gives me a 0.0625, which is again the first notch over from the midpoint. I'm going to go ahead and click that. If you don't have that polar box explaining that, then you need to turn on the polar tracking to help you with that. Then next comes the oval in the middle. So I'm going to type the word ellipse. And I'm going to choose the option for center down here at the bottom. So I'm going to just click the word center and I'm going to click on the middle of the circle. Now, at this time, the ellipse command is going to ask the endpoint of the axis. Well, one endpoint is going to be located between the two boxes, which is here. So just follow your snap to get to that center point in between the boxes. Then it's going to also ask for the other axis. So again, wait until it jumps towards the middle between the top box and the shape that you're working with, and click again. Lastly, you just take your box here, select it, and delete it with the delete key on your keyboard to get rid of that. Lastly, we will use the trim feature. So you go up to the top to trim, you'll press enter to select all, and you will go through and trim the unnecessary lines. Again, you will trim in a clockwise or counterclockwise direction. You will not just randomly click lines, because the trim feature would not work. Okay, so our next thing is the display screen. So I'm gonna hit escape to cancel out the trim, and I'm gonna go back to my rectangular command. Now I'm gonna zoom in on the top corner, and basically I need to find point 25 over. So I'm gonna go over until I find point 25 right there, uh, based off the corner, and then I'm gonna come down 25. So again, from here, I'm coming down a 16th to an eighth, to 3/16 to 1/4. So at this point, I'm going to click to begin my shape. I'm going to press D for dimensions and press enter. The X is 3. The Y is 2.75. And again, I'm going to take my mouse and click in the bottom right hand corner anywhere. Then next, I'm going to go to my offset command. The offset distance is still the same, so I'm going to press enter. I'm going to click the box I just created and click in the inside of it. Lastly, you will save your work. This is your complete calculator.